All right, well, back again. So apparently the cast just went off. It's like the lovely internet connection. Now I get a clear picture, and it kicks me off. So stab number 2. We're back at it again. So anyway, I won't go into everything I talked about, but if you're just tuning in, today's topic is how to create a shitload more freedom and happiness in your life. This is part 3, the final of a 3-part series that I'm doing on this topic. So today we're going to be talking about self-awareness. So I was just going through, what happened on the move and everything, moving back into my hometown after 17 years and being back here and just how crazy this feels. But the big thing that I was talking about was today's hashtag truth bomb, which was to look at how far you've come rather than how far you have to go, right? It's so easy when we've got these aspirations and these dreams and our goals to see how far we have to go. And we never really take the time to look at this way, like how far we've come along the way. We're always looking at like we're never there, we're so far away, it's never going to happen, and we really can get down. And it's just a simple change in perspective, because if you take time to look at how far you've come, you'll really see the progress that you've made, even during those times when it feels like you're not going anywhere at all, right? So that is the truth bomb of the day. Look at how far you've come, not how far you have to go. All right, so got my notepad ready so I don't venture too far off topic here and everything. So let's go back now. We're talking about self-awareness today. Now, again, creating freedom and happiness in your life, the foundation of it all is through self-awareness. This is a big thing, because what happens to a lot of us, I've been there for years, where we tend to get into situations where we feel like some kind of emotional pain, anything that we're afraid of, things we're worried about, or things we'd rather not feel. And so we're naturally wired to avoid pain and to seek pleasure. So when we're trying to avoid pain because we're caught up in some kind of emotional pain that we don't want to look at, we don't want to feel it, we tend to just naturally try to avoid it. We try to repress it. We try to ignore, like if I'm just like this and it's over here, maybe it's not here, to just kind of go away. We do all that kind of stuff. And what happens is that when we keep doing that, it doesn't go away. Like, it might temporarily feel a little bit better. You can avoid it, but it always comes back. And I always describe it like that shit is there doing push-ups, waiting for you. You think that you're going to like push it away, you're just going to ignore it, you're going to act like it doesn't exist, and that shit's going to come back because it's doing push-ups, it's doing squats, it's doing its pull-ups, and it's becoming stronger. So any time that we get into that cycle, it becomes harder and harder. It'll start to show up in your life, but in different ways. It can show up in very like destructive type ways, very dysfunctional type ways, even ways that are kind of, dare I say, like childish kind of ways that we will express. So if it's like fear, if it's anger, if it's, any kind of insecurities, things like that, it will tend to come back up in your life at another time, but it will show up in more kind of ways that can be more like self-destructive. It could be more intense, things like that. So, we can't just deny things and ignore them and repress them and think that they're going to go away. So, self-awareness is kind of the big thing. That's why I'm talking about all this, because when we become aware, and keep in mind that knowing something up here intellectually is not awareness, right? Knowing it up here is not awareness. You have to really experience it. And it's a difficult thing. Like you can't just teach awareness. Like through a video, I can talk to you and tell you about how to experience it, but you're not going to know it from just watching this. This is just like to guide you with some strategies and some things that you could do so you can experience it for yourself. But you're not going to come away watching this video, all of a sudden you're self-aware, right? It doesn't happen like that. It took me a lot of years to get just the level of awareness I have, and by no means am I like, sitting on some mountaintop, doing meditations and manifesting magical, stuff out of the sky. It doesn't happen like that. But I've learned a lot. I've come a long way. So what I've learned and experienced, I want to share it with you so that you can get this foundation down. Because again, if you want more freedom, you want more happiness in your life, you've got dreams, goals, aspirations that you want, it all begins with self-awareness, right? So it's very easy to get into the blame game and denial and blaming other, people or other circumstances or bad luck or, whatever the hell it is, for not being where you want to be. It's easy to do that. I did that crap for years until I started to become more aware and I started to see how all the shit that I was blaming on everything outside of myself, I was actually creating it. And it's crazy because, this isn't some voodoo, airy-fairy, law of attraction kind of shit, where we just think things and then they happen and all that kind of stuff and manifest miracles out of thin air. It's not like that. This is actual science, and I'll explain all of this. I'm not going to get all geeky on you, but I'll explain it enough that you'll come away at least with a really... you should have a really good understanding of how this all works, and it should start to really make sense. But at the bottom line, we're creating everything, even when it doesn't seem like we are. We are actually doing it all. The key is, again, self-awareness, because when you have that, you'll actually see how you're doing it. You will see how you're attracting certain people into your life. You will see how you are attracted to certain people in your life. You will see how you're creating, outcomes, results, the things that happen to you. You're creating them. You'll be able to see that when you have awareness. You'll see how, how you attach meanings to certain things and how that creates experience for you. The things that you experience in your life, right? We're creating all that stuff, even when it seems like we're not. Now, where am I at? I'm losing my place here. So anyway, I want to talk real quick again about the move, right? This is a good example of everything. We had 20 days, right? 20 days to get out of our house, to find a place to live, to pack all of our stuff, to get moved out. I mean, 20 days is not a lot of time, especially when we had a, big 2,300 plus square foot house. And we're packing all our stuff there in 20 days. We got to get out, have the truck rented, all that, let alone we had to do the move ourselves because we were so tight on time trying to see if a place where we really wanted to be was going to come up kind of at the last minute. So we couldn't hire a moving company because they needed to know where you were going ahead of time. They had to come out ahead of time and assess, I don't know what they assess, but what you have to move, I guess. They had to do all that kind of shit. So we were just so down to the wire with it, so we had to do the move ourselves. And so, I had to get a moving truck, and of course we needed the biggest damn truck, the biggest one they have, this 27-foot truck. I've never driven something that big. And this whole experience, it was bearing down on us. It was very overwhelming at times. It was very stressful at times. I mean, we had to get all these repairs done in the place. We had to get paint done and build a fence when the fence blew down from this storm. I mean, it was nuts. All this stuff we had to do. And this is maybe a little bit over 2 months later since we started, maybe nearing on 3 months. So you're talking a 90-day period to go through all this stuff where we were just this was a pipe dream and into, getting out of our house, making all these repairs happen, getting everything moved and still finding a place to live in the amount of time that we had. So this happened really fast, but we got stressed out about it. At times we were frustrated about things, not having the place come up at the beach where we wanted to be. That was some crazy ass shit that was pissing us off, and life happens, right? But it's not so much of what happens to you that determines, how you feel and what's possible for you. A lot of people label that kind of shit. When things don't go their way. Oh, nothing ever good happens to me. I have bad luck, and it's this person's fault, or it's that the fault of that, or whatever. And I'll tell you, it's the way that you react to what happens to you that determines everything. That determines your entire experience. And that goes back into part of the awareness that I'm talking about, is the meaning that we attach to things that happen. That creates our experience. And so, if we get caught up in attaching meanings, like when the fence blew down from the storm, I mean, I was like thinking, oh my God, yeah, now we're not going to be able to sell the house. But I caught myself because I was aware enough to start paying attention to the language that was going on in here, how I talk to myself. And, immediately I was going to attach this meaning to this experience. Fence blew down, can't build a whole, like almost a 90-foot fence. How are we going to do that? And that shit costs like, thousands of dollars. Oh my God, where are we going to, come up with this money all of a sudden and then try and sell this house? And it's never going to happen, right? That was the immediate thought going through my head. But I was paying attention to my language, and I was noticing the meaning I was attaching to the experience, right? But, it was catching myself, being aware enough to catch myself going through that process that allowed me the choice to change the experience I was having. Now remember, choice, that's a key word. If you watch the last part 2 of this series where I talked all about choice. Well, in order to have choice, we have to have awareness. Self-awareness is the foundation of choice. If you do not have awareness, you're not going to have choice in anything. That doorway behind me, I've said this before, if that door was locked and I didn't have the awareness to know that I can open that door, I'm not getting out of this room. Right? Nothing. There's no way. So awareness leads to choice. And that's what I'm getting at with this whole story that I'm telling you about. Why am I sharing this story with you? Well, because maybe you can relate in some way. Maybe you didn't just have to go through selling a house or a move, but maybe there's something similar. Maybe there's a time in your life recently or before where shit hit the fan and it was raining on your, parade where, you started to feel like, man, what you wanted to achieve most wasn't going to happen. Maybe it had to do with another job. Maybe it had to do with starting a new career. Maybe it had to do with your health or your fitness. Maybe it had to do with something with a relationship issue. Whatever it is, maybe something happened, right? If you can relate to something, type it below. Let me know if something's connecting with you. If you could think of something that's kind of similar to what I'm talking about, where you felt like, damn, this goal or this dream I have is never going to happen because this is in my way, right? This happened or that happened, right? So let me know if you relate to any of that stuff. But this is what I'm talking about. And it's a big difference when we start becoming aware, we catch what we're doing, we catch the meaning that we're attaching to experiences, we catch the language that's going on in our head, and it changes everything because then again we have choice. And when we have choice, we have the power to change things. We're no longer giving our power away like most people out there do. You'll see people out there all the time. All they do is bitch and fucking complain about everything in their life. Everything's going wrong. Everything's drama. Everything is somebody else's or something else's fault. And they never get where they want to go because they give their power away by blaming certain circumstances. They blame bad luck. They blame other people. They blame their bosses, their spouses, their kids. They blame every damn thing under the sun. And all that does is it gives your power away. Because when you're blaming other things or other people for what's happening to you, then you're subconsciously saying, I don't have the ability to change my circumstances. I don't have the power to do it because it's their fault or it's that thing's fault or this person's fault or whatever. You're giving it all to them. And when you give it to them, you no longer have it and therefore you have no choice. Does that make sense? Like, is anything I just said making sense? If so, do me a favor, give me some of the hearts or the likes or something. Just let me know if something's making sense here. Leave a comment below, but share this video. Most important thing, share this video with people you feel need to hear this stuff. If you're going through something, if you're getting something from this or, it's kind of getting a little bit of like a aha